Welcome to another edition of Post-Race Reddit, where I will be going through the post-race discussion at the end of every single Cup Series event. And this week was the Daytona 500. So I'm going to look through some of the replies and pick out some of my favorites and then give my personal takes on their comments. And also, if you see your comment on this and you don't want your comments being used in my videos, please let me know and I will no longer use your personal comments. I'm hoping these videos gain a little bit more steam. That way I'm able to have my own Reddit page and be able to do this a little bit differently. All right, let's see what we got here first. Oh man, feel for the hosts of our fans. Oh boy, I am so excited to watch my favorite driver and I'm gonna kill myself. uh, it was a tough weekend for the Carson hosts of our fans. Of course, spun out like 20 million times in the Truck Series race, had a lot of issues in the O'Reilly Series race, almost got into a fight with Carson Ware after the event, and it looked like he might have gotten his first career win in the Daytona 500, was leading on the white flag, but was unable to finish, ended up wrecking coming out of the tri-oval. But host of ours' first career win is coming up really, really soon. I personally believe he's going to win a race this year. All right, what we got here? Reddick had no help because no other Toyotas finished in the top 6. Herbst pushed him the whole way. This commentary team has the memory of a goldfish. I did hear that comment. I want to say that might have been Jamie Little that said that. I'm not sure who said that. But if Herbst wasn't pushing Reddick, Reddick wouldn't have won the Daytona 500. Reddick didn't give him like the biggest push in like the world, but if Herbst wasn't the one behind him, Reddick wouldn't have won the Daytona 500 because very easily most people are going to go side by side with Reddick in that sort of situation, and then they're just going to pull each other back, and then Chase Elliott would have won the Daytona 500. But because of Riley Herbst, Tyler Reddick was able to win the Daytona 500. So Riley Herbst gets his flowers. He gets all the credit in the world for this. Michael Jordan even gave him some credit, as he should. I think everybody should give him a lot of credit for what he did today. And I think it was his best career finish as well. He finished 8th in the Daytona 500. One Mirror 3228 says, let's give NASCAR credit for staying green there. For sure. They let him race it out. I personally was worried that they were going to throw the caution either on the back straightaway or in 3 and 4 because of the wreck cars in turns 1 and 2. But I think there was plenty of time for them to slow down. So I commend NASCAR for not throwing the caution. And they were pretty good about that all weekend. I just really hope they continue to be consistent about this, not throwing the caution unless it's absolutely necessary, especially like at a super speedway on the last lap, because we've seen so many super speedway races end under caution because there's a last lap wreck and they just immediately press the button to throw out the caution flag. So got to commend NASCAR for letting them race it out and finish out the Great American Race in a great American way. Everybody's talking about this finish, so great job on NASCAR. ILM Ryan says, I hope NASCAR considers this 1 hour earlier start time for the 500 next season. I'm planning on going to next year's Daytona 500 because I was unable to go this year, and I think that would be a great move. It ended up raining around 2 hours post checkered flag, roughly around 2 hours after Tyler Reddick took the checkered flag. We ended up getting some pretty heavy showers. So overall, I think it was a really great move by NASCAR, moving it up an hour. It's the earliest I've seen a 500 finish in quite a while. There was still actual daylight when they finished the race. Obviously, they put the lights on, but there was actual daylight outside when they finished this race, and I haven't seen that from a Daytona 500, unless the race is, of course, on a Monday, in quite a long time. Law Pug. That pug be putting down the law. How beautiful is it that we don't have to hear, congrats, Tyler, you're in the playoffs. We just get to celebrate the win. I couldn't agree more. That always irritated me and pissed me off. I remember the last 2 years when William Byron won, everybody was like, you're in the playoffs. How do you feel to be in the playoffs? It's like, I'm so glad the winning you're in is gone. I can't even explain to you. I'm so happy. I'm happy you get more points for winning, so I'm happy that winning still means a lot. But I'm happy the winning you're in system is gone because it takes a lot away from not just points, but from winning a big event like the Daytona 500. So I'm really happy about that. I'm really happy they didn't say, you're in the playoffs. So that's great. They said, you are the Daytona 500 champion. Mark Anguy Fieri says, Natalie Decker just piled in to Elliott's wrecked car. Probably. Probably. You're probably right. Oh, gosh. If any of you watched that O'Reilly Series race, Natalie Decker is a joke, in my opinion. That was awful. I wouldn't be surprised. She might have. She might have. Would not be surprised. LMAO, Jeff Gordon. Get up, block, fuck. No. Uh, I watched the video. Jeff Gordon just extremely hyped on top of the 9 box with a lot with the rest of the team, and they were into it. They were all in on Elliott winning it, and it looked like there was a great chance that Elliott was going to win it. When they were coming into 3, I personally thought Chase Elliott had it in the bag when they went into turns 3 and 4, and Reddick had a huge run on Zane, and luckily he had Herbst behind him to help him a little bit, and Reddick ended up taking the dub. But the Chase Sexuals are hurting tonight. They are hurting right now. AZE USA says, that's all the post-race we get for the 500? I couldn't agree more. I was very surprised by the lack of interviews that we got. We still got a couple of interviews. I'm not saying we had no interviews. We definitely had a couple. But the way it's the Daytona 500, it's our biggest race of the year. We're on Big Fox, and they didn't really have anything scheduled afterwards. On my local listings, it just said to be announced. So it was extra time in case of if they needed it. So I think they could have used it up if they wanted to. So I was pretty disappointed about that. I wish more drivers got their interviews. There's so much sponsorship money put into the Daytona 500 and into these teams. I personally really, really, really wish they got some more interviews. That way some of these sponsorships could have gotten some more spotlight. Some of these drivers could have gotten some more spotlight. That's just my opinion. And I think part of the reason why I do think they didn't do more interviews is because so many of the drivers that finished up in the top 5, top 10 were in the infield care center because they were all involved in that nasty crash. They obviously got an interview from Chase right when he got out of the care center, and you saw Stenhouse and a couple other people in the background getting interviews from like MRN and PRN and all these different sites and radio stations and whatnot. So I wish there was more interviews. I agree, but I understand at least a little bit why. But they could have made some time. Sam Nis Ardeen. I hope I pronounced that right. I probably didn't. Stage breaks ruin fuel strategy. That's all that will be said. I agree. I've been beating the drum for a while. I'm a big fan of let me get this straight. I am a huge fan of the stages because of the points they give. I personally believe in drivers being able to rack up points after having a dominating day, because every once in a while we'll see a driver just dominate the whole entire day. They get wrecked out at the very end, or they have a mechanical failure, or they lose a tire. Who knows? Something ends up happening at the end of these races. Then they end up leaving with only a couple of points. Well, if you have a dominating day, you get 20 points if you win both stages. You have 20 points right there. You're already getting more points than half the field right there. But I'm against stage cautions. I want the race to play out naturally. If people want to give up their stage points to get ahead on fuel strategy or tire strategy or whatnot, that's their decision. I think it would add in another layer when it comes to strategy, and it also brings the race more on a natural course. I'm personally all for keeping the stages for all racetracks, but removing the stage cautions from all racetracks. So short tracks, speedways, super speedways, and road courses. Yes, I said road courses. I don't care if Shane Van Gisbergen wins by 30 seconds and y'all are bored, tell your driver to get better at road courses. That's my opinion. I'm a racing purist. I want to be entertained, but I also want the best driver in the field to win, or the driver and team that has the best strategy to win. And I think the stage breaks have taken a lot out of strategy and whatnot. And the super speedway racing, it's hurt quite a bit because now you just see them line up three by three by three by three. And then you look at the miles per hour, they're all driving anywhere between like 175 and 185. They're taking it pretty easy, just trying to save gas. But people that are casuals are like, oh man, they're racing so hard. But people like me are like, they're just slowing down. The front three are just slowing down the whole field. We saw it with Toyota today. We've seen it with Ford many times, slowing down the whole field. That way they were able to save some gas. And yeah, I'm not a fan at all of the stage yellows, but they should still give away points at the end of the first two stages, and then obviously Coke 600 for the first three stages. Austin USC says LeBron 0 Daytona 500 wins. GOAT debate is over. Man, this is such a great moment for our sport. I think all NASCAR fans should remember this moment for the rest of their lives, because I personally think this is a start of a new era. That's my opinion on it. I believe what we saw tonight with Tyler Reddick and Michael Jordan winning, it's the start of a new era when it comes to NASCAR. NASCAR getting back into the pop culture zeitgeist, being on the forefront of American sports again. I think today was a badass race, and it was a badass performance. Everybody was entertained. You had 20 million celebrities at the race, and they all seemed like they had a great time. I'm seeing celebrities, people that are way outside of the NASCAR bubble, tweeting about this because Michael Jordan and Tyler Reddick won the Daytona 500, and we had a fantastic finish. We had a great race. We had no rain. This is awesome, man. Michael Jordan winning the Daytona 500 with Tyler Reddick, and of course Denny Hamlin, after everything that Denny Hamlin has gone through this offseason. Like, my goodness, today was a beautiful moment. We had the one of the great American races I have ever seen, and we also had a great American story from many different perspectives, whether you're coming from the 2311 racing perspective, everything with the court case, whether you're coming from the Michael Jordan perspective, one of the greatest athletes in American history and American sports in general, one of the most well-known athletes in the whole entire world. You have Tyler Reddick, who struggled mightily on the track last season. Plus, his son had a lot of health issues. He was really down in the dumps last season, Tyler Reddick. And of course, what I just mentioned with Denny Hamlin, him losing the championship in the way he did last year, of course, with the loss of his father and the big time injuries to his mother, Mary Lou, who was actually at the racetrack. I just, it almost makes me want to cry. Like, it's such a beautiful moment in our sports history, and we're getting featured all over the place. I'm very interested to see how the next 2 or 3 weeks go, from a pop culture, social media perspective. Well, that'll do it for this week's edition of Post Race Reddit. Like I said, every week, going to go through a couple of Reddit comments and give my opinion and my takes on those comments. Next week, we have Echo Park Speedway. I don't like calling it that, but that's what it's called. Atlanta Motor Speedway is what I like to call it. And that track has been a little bit different almost every time we've gone there since the repave. It continues to age very quickly. So I'm very interested to see what we're going to get. Is it going to be more on the super speedway side of things, or is it going to begin to turn more and more into old Atlanta? I don't think it will ever quite be as like old Atlanta, but maybe you can get close. But tune in next week as I will give my post-race Reddit takes right here on my channel. But for now, I'm Trackside Larry saying peace.